In today's video, I am going to be breaking down some full court press defenses that you can run with younger basketball players. All of these traps, all of these full court zones can be ran for most leagues as long as you can run a full court press. So for example, here in Ontario, a U11 team can press in the last quarter, and a U12 team, which is what I coach, can press in the entire second half. If you are close within 20 points in Ontario, you can full court press during those times in those age groups. So let's get down and let's check out these basketball plays. By the way, if you want to have an unbeatable basketball defense in the half court, make sure to go check out my Unbeatable Basketball Zone Defense book that is down in the description. That's going to trap the corners and double the low post. But also, make sure to check out the Playbook app down below as well for a 10% off code. That's the app that I am using in this video. So this is what I call a triangle chaser. There's a reason why I call it a triangle chaser and not a 2-1-2, because this is not your traditional 2-1-2 full court press. Basically, this is a press where if you are afraid of getting beat and getting wide open layups, this is really going to help you a ton. So after the ball's been inbounded, player 2's job is to force the ball up the sideline here, and player 1's job is to force the ball up the sideline on his or her side. When that ball is going up their side, player 2 in this case would be following the middle of the court and being able to cut off any of these reverse passes out. Meanwhile, this triangle that's here, they need to move as a triangle over towards this side. The reason being is this player here is looking down court. Any long passes, these players need to be able to pick off. Meanwhile, any reverse passes have to be picked off by player 2. In fact, you can even have player 4 slide up just a bit so that if there's any passes up middle, he or she can intercept them. If there's nobody up middle, then that player can sit back just a little bit and stay within the triangle formation. The whole goal here is to get this ball to half court and then have players 1 and 3 trap right here. At this time, player 5 and 4 will still be in their triangle, and player 2 will be at half court trying to pick off any passes going up the middle. We don't want anything up the middle. We don't want any passes to the corner, and we definitely do not want any passes to the key. Now, if this all breaks down, I usually have them sit back into a triangle zone right here so that these players really all they do is they move from their triangle zone that we had here, and all they do is just move back to their spots in the triangle. And how this triangle works is if the ball is out here, player 5 would move out, player 3 watches that high post, and player 4 watches that low post. That way, if there's any skip passes up, player 3 needs to get it. If there's any passes into the post, player 4 needs to get it. Meanwhile, we would be chasing, usually, not always, with both players 1 and 2, which means that in this corner, this would be a triple team. This automatically usually gives us the ball. Anything into these corners right here is a triple team, and we get that ball right away. We either rip it from them, or they run out of bounds, or they just get the closely guarded call, one or the other. I run it a different way as well in the half court, where player 2 can only be on this side, and he would then watch middle, and this would be a double team in the low post. There's options there too, but I'm not going to get into my full half court set. We're just talking about full court stuff today. This is another interesting set that you can run with young basketball players, and basically what you would be wanting to have is player 1 force the ball left or right. We really want player 4 and 1 to trap here and 2 and 1 to trap here. This is where we would like them to trap. Now, if this is the case, ball starts going up the sideline, player 1 is following. If the ball gets passed back over here, player 3 needs to take that, and player 1 now takes that top. This could get a little confusing, but if we can teach this over a 20 to 45 minute period in practice, you should be able to get this quite successfully. Hopefully that you have enough time in practice to be able to do that. Now, once we get that ball to the sideline, we want players 3 and 2 to trap. At this time, player 5 will move back, player 1 will watch the middle, player 5 will start shading over towards this side, and player 4 will then cover that middle pass here. Teams are always trained to pass the ball to the middle and usually not down the sideline. We want player 5 to bait that pass, so not to cover this side. We want them to bait it because if they make this pass, it's mostly going to be a loop pass or a lob pass, which means that player 5 should be big enough and strong enough to be able to intercept that pass and steal it and go back the other way and score. Now, if this breaks down, let's say this didn't work, and we have these guys in this zone, how I like to run this back into a half court is I would run, and I really like janky defenses. I'm going to tell you that right now. My unbeatable defense is crazy. It doubles the low post, it traps these corners, and it's single coverage from the free throw line and above with my unbeatable defense that's down in the description. But my defenses are killer. My players like them too. But how I like to run this is these 3 guys move back. Player 2 covers the high post. 4, 5, 3 cover like a 2-3 zone. And player 1 chases the ball wherever it goes. That way, we'll always have single coverage in this area. However, with player 1 chasing, if the ball ever goes into these corners, it's an automatic trap, and we cover the low and high post. We just don't cover this wing. That's the weakness to this zone, but if we were in my unbeatable defense, we wouldn't have a weakness like that. But I like to sometimes run this with younger players, even with my U14 guys over the summer, because it's actually quite successful. So there's some full court presses for young kids that are kind of janky, that sit back into a zone quite easily, and they run very, very similar styles, whether it's a full court press or in the half court. They have similar rules so that it's just easier to teach and easier to run. I hope that you've enjoyed today's video. Make sure to go check out my Unbeatable Defense book that is down in the description below. And if you like this app, the link is down there as well. And I'll see you guys again in my next video.